A Softek IT Consult.
2-bit. Okay, it is what? Each what? It has 4 octets. When I say 4 octets, I mean within this 32-bit, we have what? The first octet right here. We have what? A second what? Azanu Cherry. Please, your hand is up.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
please. If the range is from 0 to 255 and there are 5 classes, why doesn't it start from 0 to 2 and ends at 255?
So I'm going to explain that. Okay, I'll explain that. Why the 255 is out. Okay, I'll explain that. Okay, so let's move on from what? Level 1, level 2, level 3. Okay. So it consists of what? Of 4 what? Octets. Okay, IP address consists of what? Of 4 octets, which sums up to what? Making what? 32 what? Bits. Okay, 32 what? Bits. Out of what? This 32 bits, each octet is what? Is 8. Okay, so the first octet is what? Is 8. Second octet is what? Also 8. Third what? Octet is what? Also what? 8. And then the fourth octet is what? Is 8. We adding the what? The 8, 8, 8, 8. We are getting what? 32 bit. And then this is what? Only what? IPv4. That is the what? IP version 4. Okay. The first what? IP address. That is what? IP version 4 consists of what? Of 32 bits. Okay. Which has what? 8 what? Bits as what? An octet. Okay. First octet, second octet, third octet, and then the what? The last what? Octet. Okay. So we having, let me say, this particular what? Octet. And I'm giving an example. I put what? An IP address of, let me put this as what? 100 dot, let me say this is what? 128. This can be what? 50. And then this can be what? 7. Okay. You see, these are what? In what? Octet. As you can see, it is what? Separated by what? By a dot. Okay. There is a dot what? Separating what? Each of the what? Of the decimals. These are what? Decimal values. Okay. 100 is a decimal. 128 is a what? It is a decimal. 50 is a what? Is a decimal. And then 7 is a what? A decimal. But there is a what? A dot separating what? Each octet. Okay. A dot separating what? Each octet. So with this, IP address consists of what? Only 4 what? Octet. Okay. This is what? Octet 1, octet 2, octet 3, and what? Octet 4. Telling us that it is a what? It is an IPv4 what? Address. So when we are what? To write down this what? IP address in what? In the binary form, the 100, okay, will be what? Written in what? In binary form in the what? In the first what? Octet. Okay. So 100 in what? In binary will give us, maybe will give us some values. Let's say, let's take what? 100 to what? To binary. And let's see what we get from here. All right. To binary. So this is what? 2 can go into 100 what? 50 times. Okay. As we did in what? Discrete structures. Okay. Logic. Okay. Remember what? Remember 0 right here. And then 2 can go into what? Into 50, 25 times. Remember what? 0. And then 2 can go into what? 25 times, 12 times. Okay. That is what? Remember 1. As we all know from what? From logic. And then 2 can go into what? Into 12 6 times. Okay. Remember 0. And then 2 can go into what? Into 6 3 times. Remember what? Remember 0. 2 can go into what? Into 3 2 times. 1 time. Sorry. 1 time. Sorry. This is what? 1 time. Remember what? Remember 0. And now 2 cannot go into what? Into 1. So here becomes 0. Remember what? Remember 1. Okay. So we write this. Okay. In the what? In the first octet. Let me write it right here. Okay. Let me put this what? Right here. Okay. For the first octet. 1 0 0 0 1 0 0. As you can see, we have what? We have 8 what? Bits. 8 bits for the what? For the first octet. Okay. So let me do the what? The second octet as well. That is what? 128. 128. Let me do it somewhere here. And then we know that what? We've done the what? The binary from here. Okay. Where is the pen? All right. Okay, so 128. So I take 128 from here. 2. Okay. 128. 2 can go into what? Into 120. 2 can go into what? Into 128. How many times? I think 64. Right? 64. Okay. Will give us what? 0 remainder. And then 2 can go into what? 64 32 times. Okay. Without what? A remainder. 2 can go into what? 32 what? 16 times.
16.
Without what? A remainder. And then 2 can go into what? 16 8 times. Without what? A remainder. 2 can go into what? Into 8 4 times. Without what? A remainder. 2 can go into what? Into 4 2 times. Without what? A remainder. And then 2 can go into itself 1. Okay. Without a remainder. And then 2 cannot go into what? 2 can't go into what? Into 1. So it is 0. Remember what? Remember 1. Okay. So from that particular side as well, we have 1 0 0 0 0 0 and then 0. Are they 8? 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Left with 1. Okay, so this is what we have. This is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 and 8. All right. Let's take the what? The last octet, the third octet. So let me clean this. Let me clean this one. Okay, so the next one is 50, right? This is 50. So let's take it from 50. 50 from here. All right. So 2 can go into what? 50 25 times. Remember what? Remember 0. Okay. And then 2 can go into what? 25 12 times. Remember 1. 2 can go into what? Into 12 6 times. Remember 0. And then 2 can go into what? 6 3 times. Remember 0 right here. Then 2 can go into what? Into 3 1 time. Remember what? Remember 1. And then 2 cannot go into what? Into 1. That is 0. Remember what? Remember 1. Okay, as you can see, we have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, left with 2. Okay. It is like what? Binary coded decimals. Those ones are only in what? In 4-bit. So if you have this particular value, okay, and then there is what? An additional slot, we place in what? Zeros. Okay. We place in what? In zeros. So when writing them, let's write them this way. That is 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, and then the last 2 zeros. Okay. Even though there was what? Addition, but it is a bit. Okay. A bit, 1 byte is what? 8 bits. So the IP address consists of what? Of 4 bytes. Okay. IPv4 is what? Is 4 bytes what? Address. Okay. So every what? Every 1 bit is what? Every 1 byte is what? Is 8 bits. Okay. Every what? 1 bit is every 1 byte is what? 8 bits. So even if, let me say here, I have only what? 2. Let me take this. I have only maybe when I calculated, I had only what? Only 1 and 1. Meaning when I write what? 1 and 1 here, the rest becomes what? All what? Zeros. Because the bits are what? They are empty. So empty means it is what? It is 0. So I just place it what? Right there. Okay. So from here, they are all what? Empties. And then you fill it to what? To 8. Okay. So that is. Okay. So let's take it from the last one. From the last, that is 7. Okay. So see what happens to the 7. Let's see what happens to the 7. We have 7 right here. Let's take 7 here. All right. So this is what? 7. This becomes what? 2 can go into a 7 3 times. Remember what? Remember 1. And then 2. Two can go into what? Into 3 1 time. Remember what? Remember 1. And then 2 can go into what? Into 1 0 times. Remember what? Remember 1. Okay. So we moving from here. We have only what? 1 1 1. And then the rest all becomes what? 0. So if we are to what? To write it right here. it becomes 1, 1, 1, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, making it what? Now we have what? These our address in what? In bits. Okay, so these are what? 8 bits, 8 bits, 8 bits, 8 bits, summing up to what? 4 bytes in conversion. Okay, so an IP address is of what? Is of 4 bytes. Okay, having what? Each octet. Okay, each of the what? Of the byte is an octet. The 100 isn't up to what? 8 bits. So I guess there's an additional 0, right? Additional 0 right here. Okay, then that's true. That's true. That's true. So making up to what? 8. Okay, so we have what? This our IP address in what? In bits. Okay, so let's take it right from the what? From class A IP address. Okay, so class A IP address ranges from, let me clean this. In IP addresses, the reason why I ignore the what? The 0 is because of this. The first what? IP address is always used as a what? As a network address in any network. Okay, I told you guys that. And that's what? And that's 0 to what? To 200 and what? And 55. Okay, the first IP address, that is what? Of 0 is used for what? It's used for network what? Address, or used as the what? Network what? Address, to identify the particular the particular what? Network. Okay, that tells us that this is what? This particular network. That is the what? The first what? IP address. And then the last 255 is used as a what? As a broadcast address. Okay, broadcast address. That is the 255 as a what? As a broadcast address. Broadcast. Okay, when I talk about what? About broadcast address, I mean it is the address which is going to be used to what? To send messages to what? Everybody on the network. Like maybe you having your what? Your WhatsApp phone. Okay, you see, we now have what we call broadcast. Like you can select some people on the what? On your WhatsApp platform, and then when you just broadcast the message, it moves to what? All of them. Okay, that is how the what? The hub behaves. Okay, the hub device. It's what? It broadcasts what? Every data that what it has to what? Everybody on the what? On the network. So this particular what? IP address is used as a what? As a broadcast what? ID. Okay, and then it has what? It's 8 bits in binary as what? 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. Okay, so meaning what? 8 bits. Okay, and it is used as a what? As a broadcast what? ID. So I hope it's clear. So we can move on, right? Cherry, I hope it is clear from here.
Yes. Okay. Please, can you retouch on the network? On the network address.
Okay, on the network address. I'm saying in yes. What? In the what? IP what? Addresses. The first what? The first address. Okay, starting from what? 0 to what? To 225. The first what? IP address is used as a what? Network address to identify that this is what? This, let me say, okay, in your house, you have what? Maybe a small local area network, okay? Like with your cell phone, your laptop, a television, maybe other people were connected, but in a small what? Network, okay? If I want to what? Tell the what? That particular network or what? Identify this particular network, I will use the what? The network what? Address to tell that what? Okay, so if it becomes this way, see this, let me write this. Let me clarify it from here, okay? Let me say I have an address of, let me say 100, right? Let me say this 128, and then maybe 112. Just taking out a sample of what? An address. Okay, this is what? This is 0. This is what? 128. Let me just take what? Example of right here as 100. Let me take this as maybe 111. Then let me take this as anything. Okay, like maybe 101. Okay, so you see what I'm talking about. This what particular one. Okay, so this is your shift this up. This is your what? Let me say this is your what? Your laptop. This is your what? Your cell phone. Okay, and then you are on what? A particular what? Network. You know what makes us know that you're on a particular network? The first what? This. Okay, and this are the same. So it can tell us that, okay, then this particular what? Two devices are on the same what? Network. Okay, they are what? On the same particular network. Okay, this is what? A class A what? IP address. So I can tell that. So if they have another device like here, okay, 100 dot, let me say 101, okay, dot, let me say 112, and then dot, let me say 103. All right, so this one, okay, let me say this is your what? Your phone, your laptop, your Android television. Okay, the reason why I can tell that you are on what? Maybe maybe you're working in a company. The company would have what? A network. Okay, and they will have what? A network what? Address. Okay, so this first part, okay, if anybody connects to the what? To the network, the first part of the network becomes the same for what? Everybody, which means we are what? On the same what? Network. Please, I hope you are following.
Yes, sir.
So that is what I mean by the what. So the first part or the first one is always used for the what? Network address to identify that particular network from what? Different what? Networks. Okay, so use it to identify what? This particular network from what? Maybe MTN's network or Vodafone's network or GCTU's network or that and that. Okay, so that is the what? The network what? Address. Okay, so let's move on to the explanation for the what? For the class A what? IP address. Let me undo this and that. Let me clean.
So, sir.
Hey, come on.
Basically, the
Yes.
0.
Yes.
And then the 255.
Yes.
Are reserved addresses.
Yes. So they are reserved address for what? Some special what? Purposes. Okay. They are reserved what? Addresses. Reserved IP addresses. One for what? In every network. Okay. They are reserved right there. The first one for the what? For the network address, and then the last one for the what? For the broadcast address. Okay. So that is what? A reserved what? IP what? Address. Okay. We are going to get there as well. Okay. So I've cleaned all of this. Okay. So I'm saying that.
So, sir, I want to clarify something. The 0 is a network address. It's reserved for network of
for
the
network.
whole network.
Yes.
And the first octet, the first 8 bits, is for is identifies the network.
So we are going to see from here. Okay, let's follow. Okay, don't let us run from there. The guy saying 127 shouldn't be part of the. I'll explain. So I'll take it out. But I need to just tell you that it is from here to here. But there is something right there. Okay, so I will explain. Okay, so let's move on. As we go on, we explain, then we'll take it on. All right. So every class A if you want to identify that a network is a class A IP address, it should range from from 1 okay. Thank you very much. To identify that a network is a class A IP address, you should see it should range from 1 to 126. Okay, though it is up to 127, but the 127 is also a reserved IP address, which is used for for look back. Okay, look for a look back, or for research purposes. Okay, so 127 isn't part of the class A IP address. Okay, it is used as a look back IP address for research purpose. Okay, so anytime you want to identify that a network is a class A IP address, it should have the ranges of 1 to 126. Okay, and let me when I take one, I'll explain everything about that particular IP address. So as I told you earlier, IPv4 has 4 bytes, which means each of the what of the octet. Okay, each of the octet must be what? Must be 8 bits. Okay, let me just put this right here as what? As the 8 bits. Okay. Okay. So every class A IP address, class B IP address, C, and then D looks like this. Okay. So this is the what? The first octet. Okay. In class A IP address, because it is class A, it is divided, every network is divided into what? Into 2 sections. Okay. Into 2 particular what? Sections. Have a look at this. Okay. Into what? Into a network and then what? And then host. Okay. Network and then what? Host. Every particular what? IP address or a particular what? Network is divided into what? Into network and then the what? The host. Okay. So we have what? A portion in the what? In the IP address for what? For the network to identify the what? The network. And then these people are calling me again. All right. So please, sorry, another call. Okay. White sheet. Okay, more white sheets. Okay, sir. Okay. So it is what? Divided into what? Into 2 sections. That is the what? The network and then the what? The host what? Part by part. Okay. And then with the what? With the class A IP address, it has only what? One what? Network portion. So let me divide this network. This is the what? First what? Octet. Okay. Second what? Octet right from here. And then what? Third what? Octet. And then this is the what? The last what? Octet right from here. All right. So with the class A IP address, this first octet is always the what? The network what? The network portion of the what? Of the IP address. Okay. The reason being that is this. Class A IP addresses always have their what? Their higher order bits set to what? To 0. When I talk about that, this is what I mean. Okay. So let me say this was what? 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So is this 8? Let me see. This is 4. This is 4. Okay. So this, the higher order bit of what? Every what? Class A IP address is set to what? To 0. Okay, which means the other ones what? They remain. Okay. So the higher what? Order bit isn't used in the what? In the network what? Portion or addressing. So the only bit that remains, the bit that remains are what we use to what? Identify the what? The class A what? Address. Okay, so it was 8. So it becomes what? 2 to the power what? 7. Okay, meaning the first what? Bit has been taken off because class A IP addresses have their what? Their higher order bit. Okay, higher order bit set to what? To 0. So right now we can tell that the IP address is going to what? Move from 2 to the power 7 is giving us what? Is it 128? 128, right? Okay. So see this. It is from this 128. Okay. And and then we know that what? Class A should what? Should range from 1 to what? 126. But see what happens. We always say that what? For every what? IP what? Address, the first what? And the last shouldn't be what? Be part. Okay. So let's say 0 to what? 128. Okay. So with this, when we even take what? The minus 1 from this, it becomes what? 1 what? 27. Okay, that is the last one right here. And then right, the first one in here becomes what? The 1. Then we know that this what? IP address is what? Is a reserved what? IP address, which is used for what? For look back or what? Research purpose. So it automatically becomes what? 100 and what? And 26 from here. 1 what? 26 from what? Right here. So every class A IP address has what? Only 7 bits for what? For identifying the network. So if I write what? A network like this, maybe 100, 1, maybe 1, and then 1. The first what? Octet should be used to what? To tell that this is a what? It's a class A IP address. If it has a range from what? 1 to what? To 126. Okay, the last three portions or the last three what octets, okay, are used for the what for the host. Can you just imagine the number of what host class A IP address will have? That is what 888. That is what 24. Okay, meaning what? Through the power what 24 is giving us about what are we getting here, please? For this value, okay, for this value, $24. Okay, through the power 24. Let me just get this on and let's continue. We are having, yes, we're having what 16. Yeah, 16 million.
We have 167716.
Yes. And then so with the class A IP address, okay, these are the what? Are the number of what? IP addresses, okay, on it. But these aren't the what? The usable IP addresses. These are only the what? The IP addresses in this particular what? Class A IP address, okay. That means it can have about what 16,771,216 what host. Okay, but if we want to find for the what for the usable ones, I always say that the
Hi, so please can you take your time? It looks like you're rushing a little bit, please.
Okay. Please, sorry for that. Okay, let me take it once again. All right. So whether now we got the what the network part. Okay, that is what 127 for what for class A IP address, and then with the host portion, the last three octets. Okay, for the what for the host portion, and then we have what 8 bits from here. Okay, so becoming what 24 what bits. So to the power what 24 gave us what this particular what value. Okay, so the what the number of hosts in a what a class A IP address are what are 16 million 16 million 771,200 and what 16. That is the what the number of hosts in a what a class A what a network. Okay, in a class A network. Class A network.
Please, you can differentiate between
your network is breaking. Your network is breaking. Come again. Your network. Please, you can type it in the chat section as well. Okay, you can type it there. Okay, so this is the what is the number of what of a host a class A what IP or class A network. Sorry, class A network can contain, but these aren't the what the usable ones. Okay, if you want to find the what the usable what IP addresses, we subtract 2 from this. As I told you, the first one will be used for what for network, and then the last one is used for what for the broadcast. All right, so we subtract the network and the broadcast from this, giving us what through the power what 24 minus what 2. Okay, that is the what the network and then the what the broadcast. Okay, so when we take these 2 out, meaning the remaining what IP addresses can be what can be used by what by devices. Okay, can be used on the what on the network. Those are the what the usable ones. That's what one can use on the network. Can't you see class A has what a large number of hosts, which means it is not for what for like 10 people. Differentiate between what host address and what and usable host. Okay, so the host, this is the what total number of hosts that what we have here, which I mean class A network address or class A IP address can support what 16,771,216 hosts. Okay, that is what it can contain. That is the maximum. But the usable ones are the ones that are what given to what devices. Okay, the usable ones are the ones that we give to what our laptops, our desktops, our mobile phones, our Android TVs, our Mac. Okay, those are the what the usable ones. So meaning the last 2, that one we can't what use them. Okay, they are used for what their own purpose. That is the what? The first one out of it is for the what? Network, and then the what? The last one for the what? For the broadcast. Lisa, I hope it's clear. Please, I hope you are following. All right.
Yes,
All right. So let's go in for. So this is what? The network what? ID for what? For class A what? Network. Okay. The network what? ID for what? For class A what? Network. Okay. And then this is the what? Is the what? Is the host ID. All right. That's the what? The host ID for what? For class A network is this. All right. Minus the 2. All right. And then this is what? Is right this. That is the what? The network and the what? And the host ID. So meaning if you are being told to what? Look for the what? Network ID for what? For class A network. Okay, we know that what? Class A has the what? The first what? Higher order bit set to what? To 0, meaning left with what? With 7 right here. Okay, so let us be reminded that this one was what? Was 8. 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 Then we said that what? In the class A IP address, the first what? Octet is for what? For the what? For the network. Second is for the what? For the host. Third is for what? Is for the host. And then what? Fourth is also for the what? For the host. Okay, summing them all up, we are getting what? A 32-bit what? In what? 32 bits. Okay, 32 what? Bits right from here. Okay, which means it is the same what? IP address that what? We are what? Actually what? Using. Okay, so let me write this right here from here. Okay, that is the what? The first one. That is the what? The network. And then the last what? 3. Okay, that is the what? 8 host plus what? 8 host plus what? 8 host. Okay, that is what? 24 for what? For this. Okay, so plus what? This is giving us what? 32 what? Bits. Okay, for the what? For the IP address. But the first what? Octet is used for the what? For the network section. And then the last what? 24 bits. The last what? 24 bits. Okay, 24 bits right here is used for the what? For the host portion. Okay, that is the what? The host what? ID. All right. So let's move on to the what? The class B. Please, I hope it is fine. We are on track on the same platform.
No, I'm lost.
So where are you lost at?
Everything.
Everything.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm just running through quick again. Okay. So let me just claim.
They told us the class will start at 11. So I joined at 11 and I didn't understand what's going on.
Wow. So this one please bear with us. But you let me just run through from right here, and then maybe after the class you can find what a colleague to help you out. Okay. Because if we say we are going back again, meaning,
so please can you summarize it?
Summarize from where we've got into.
So please summarize the class E. Yeah, just like the points of class E.
Okay.
Like you said, the first one is a network.
Okay.
Then
so yeah, I'm summarizing it right from here.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. So we said that what IP addresses are in what? Are in classes, and then we took the class A IP address, which what ranges from what? From 1 to what? 126. Okay, this is what used to what? To determine that's what a particular what IP address is what? A class A IP address. For example, maybe 101. Okay, dot 1. Sorry, this is dot 1, dot maybe 2, and then maybe dot 3. Okay, to tell that this is a what? A class A IP address, we use what? The first what? Octet. That is this. Okay, but let me just explain further. Okay, in what? In a class A IP address, we have what? We have 4 bytes. Okay, that is what? 8 octet. 8 what? Octet per what? Per decimal. All right, per decimal. Okay, and it's of what? 32 what? Bits. Okay, this is what? 8 bits as this. Okay, at the first one, and then this is also what? 8 bits at the second one. That is the 1. Okay, and then this is the what? For the what? For the 2, and then that is for the what? For the 3. That is what? 8 bit. Okay, and then in every class A what? IP what address or class A network or anything, the higher order bit of the what of the class A what IP address is set to what to 0. So let me say this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is 8. Okay, we have what 8 bits right here. The first bit, that is what the higher of them all should be set to what to 0. Okay, so the rest remains what 1. That is 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8. Okay, so this is what out. Okay, so the remaining ones are used to determine the network ID of the class A IP address. Okay, which is 2 is the power 7, which is 100 and 28. Okay, 100 and 28 for a class A IP address. This is the network ID for a class A IP address. So we determining that the first octet is used to identify the network. The remaining 24 bit. Okay, so meaning this is 8. This is 8. This is 8. This is this is 8. Always the first octet is used to determine the network. Okay, and then the last 8 bits. The last 888. That is 8 plus plus 8 plus 8 plus plus 8 plus 8, which is 24 bits, are used to determine the number of hosts, meaning the number of users on the network. Okay, so with this as well, we can say that the network has 8 bits. Okay, and then the host has 24 bits. Okay, has 24 bits. Okay, this is an equal sign. Okay, so with the host portion, when we are told to find for the host ID. Okay, I told you that the formula is 2 raised to the power n. Okay, which is the n is is the number of bits. Okay, then the bit we have here is is 24. Okay, because this was 8 bits, 8 bits, 8 bits. Okay, so meaning 2 raised to the power 24 gives us what we had to be the 16 million 600 and 16 million 700 and I think 71 and then something like that. A digit that we have like that. This is not the actual, but use your calculator, you get the actual digit. But I just want to just write this. Okay, this is the host on this particular class A network. Okay, and then that is the total number of host. Okay, but the usable host, which I mean the IP addresses that can be used on the class A network, class A network. We subtract 2 from this total host. Okay, when we say usable host, the one that we can give to our mobile phone, our laptops, our desktops, television, and so. They had the usable host. Okay, so the usable hosts are different from the total number of hosts. Total number of hosts is the whole amount of hosts the IP address or the network contains. But the usable one, we say it is 2 to the power n minus minus 2. What is this particular value minus minus 2. Okay, so meaning if we do our subtraction, we'll be getting around 16,771,000. I think that was a value right there. Please, I hope till this point we are on track. Miss Sherry, you want to ask a question?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So why are we subtracting 2 if we've already subtracted the 0?
There's which 0?
Understand.
No, we didn't subtract
from
0.
The beginning from the network ID.
Yes. So this is this is
the first.
Yeah. This is, please pay attention. This is network, and then this is is for host. So the network has its own particulars. The host also has its own particulars. Okay, this is for
so
the
for each.
Yes.
There's a substructure.
Yes. Okay. Yes, that is right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. So that is where what we've gotten to so far. I hope we are all clear. So we can move on to the class B.
Yes, sir.
All right. So let me take the next screen. Okay. For the class B, what IP address? We said that what it's also what begins from what from 128 to what 191. Okay. Which means that in our 32 what bits, right? The first octet, second octet, and then the what third octet. This is what 8 bits. 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 Which means I can have what an IP address as this 120 what 8 or 129 dot, let me say 100 dot, let me say 1.1. Okay, so when I see what this particular what kind of what network, I should be able to tell that okay, it is what a class what B what IP what address, because this particular site, okay, the network, okay, this particular first value is telling me that it ranges from what from 128 to what. So the moment I see what 191 maybe dot maybe 1, I should tell that this is what a class B what IP address, because it should range from what 129 128 129 130 130 131 up till what up till 191, up to what 191. That is a what a class B IP address. And then in the class B IP address, this is the what, let me put it up this way. Okay, first, second, and then the last one. Okay, so we have what 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, and then what, and then 8. For all of them the same 8 8 8 8 8. Okay, so let's say we have what we have 1 1 1 1 1 1 1 and 1. That is 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Okay, and then we have what another 1 1 1 1 5 6 7, and then what, and then 8. For the class B IP address, the network and the what and the host portion are what are different from the class A IP address. For the class B IP address, the what the first what octet is a what a network. Okay, the second what portion is the what is also what a network, and then the last two what portions are what are host and then host. As you can see, class A was A, so let's take it from there. Class A was A, so the first octet. Class B, okay, even in number, let's say to remind us, is B, which means 2, which means the what the first 2 would be what would be network and what and will be network. Okay, and then the remaining will be the what will be the host. So which means in the class A what network, 24 bits, okay, 24 bits are used for the what for the network, okay, for the network portion. And then the extra what 24 bits, okay, is used also for the what for the host portion to identify the what the host of that particular what network. Okay, but in the what in the class B
Okay,
what,
please, you mean 16.
Oh, sorry 16, sorry 16. Okay, 16 and 16. Thanks very much. Okay, 16 and what and 16 making what 32 bits, and then that is what correct. Okay, so in the class B network, the first what 2 octet are for the what for the network, and then what the last 2 octet are used for the what for the host what portion, making it what 32 bit. But in the class B what network or class B IP address, the first 2 what octet in the what in the network address are the what higher order bits. Okay, So they are what? Set to what? 1 and what? And 0. Leaving the what? The remaining what? 14. Because we know that it is what? 16. And then the what? The higher order bits are what? Are the first two. That is the what? The first two set to what? To 1 and 0. Leaving the what? The remaining 14 to what? To identify the what? The network ID. In the class A, we set the what? The first bit as the what? Higher order bit to what? To 0. Okay? Which made us what? Got what? A network ID of what? 128. But in the class B, the first two bits are set to what? 1 and 0. So when we set it, then meaning we take them off. So it remains the what? The remaining ones are what? That is the 14 are used to what? Identify or check or tell that this is the what? Is the network ID. So let's write it. 2 raised to the power what? N. That is what? Is the power what? 14. Okay. 2 raised to the power 14 is giving us what? It's giving us what? What value are we getting from here? Okay, so the network ID for class
is not supposed to be 2 raised to the power
16,000.
I'm saying that it is 16, right? It is 16 from the what? From the bits, okay? It is 16. But when looking for the what? For the network ID, okay, we set the what? The first two what? Bits of the what? Class B network. Mind you, it is B. Let me just make you what? Get this. It is B. So let's assume B is what? Is 2. That one was what? Was A. Let's assume A was what? A was 1. So looking for the what? For the network ID, meaning the what? The first what? Other bits, okay? Let's say the first one. Let's say the out of the what? The first 8 bits, the network part. We take the what? The first one out, okay? Meaning the remaining 7 are used to what? Tell that what? This is what? The network what? ID, which is what? 128 network ID, okay? And then with the what? With the class B, let's say, okay, B is 2. Let's assume B is 2. So we take the what? The first two what? Bits, okay, as the what? Higher order bits. Okay, so we take them out. And then it leaves the what? The 14. Okay. That is used to what? To identify or calculate the what? The network ID. The network ID. Pay attention. Network what? ID. All right. Network what? ID. All right. So that is the what? Network ID. Find it. So this gave us what? 16,300 and what? And 84. Okay. For our what? Our network what? ID. For the what? Class B network. Okay. Please, I hope it's clear. Please,
Yes.
are you following? Okay. So let's go and look for the what? For the host ID. Okay. For the host ID. Let's get to the what? To the host ID. So as I said, the first what? The first 2 bits. The first 8 bit. That is the what? The first octet. And then the first 2 octets. That is the what? The first 2 octets was for the what? Was for the network. Okay, was for the network. This is the network. So the remaining what? Portion is for the what? For the host. Okay. So we know that what? Finding for the what? For the host ID. And then the formula is also what? 2 to the power what? N minus what? Minus 2. Okay. To the power what? N minus what? Minus 2. Okay. But with the host ID, okay, there is a formula that, let me write the formula right here. It is what? 2 to the power what? N minus C. Okay. C is the what? Is the higher order bit that's what we have removed. So if this was for the what? Was that is network ID formula. Network ID formula. Okay. Host ID formula. Okay. Host ID formula. Network ID formula. Okay. So the higher order bits, let me say, if this was what? Class A IP address, class A network, this becomes what? 2 to the power what? 8 minus what? Minus 1. Okay. Giving us the what? The host ID. If it was what? A class B IP address, okay, it was what? 2 to the power what? 16 minus what? Minus 2. Okay, giving us the what? The what? The network ID for class B. But when it comes to the what? To the host ID, if it was class A IP address, it is what? to the power what? 24. Okay, 24 minus 2. So you see where the minus is, okay? And if it's for the class what? Class B, it becomes what? 2 to the power what? 16, because the remaining is what? 16 minus what? Minus 2. So that is the what? The formula, and then how it is what? It is being used in here for network ID, host ID. Okay, so let's take the what? The host ID for the what? For the class B what? Network. Host ID for the class B what? Network. Okay, so it becomes what? 2 to the power what? 16, which is giving us what? We are having what? 65,000 500 and what? And 36. Okay, minus our 2. Okay, which gives us a what? 65,500 and what? And 34. That is what the host what? ID and what? Usable host. Usable host on the what? On the network. Okay, these are the one that what we can assign IP addresses to. These are the IP addresses that what we can assign what? Devices we can assign what? IP addresses to. So this one becomes what? Devices we cannot assign IP addresses to. The two we took out was the what? Was the broadcast and the what? And the network. Okay, the two we took out was the what? For the what? Broadcast and the what? And the network. Okay, so that is for the what? For the class B. That is for the what? For the class B IP what? Address. And I believe we are on the same what? We are on the same track.
Yes, sir. Sir.
All right. Okay. Any questions?
So what is the higher order bit for?
Class B. Okay.
No, I'm not asking in general. What is it meant?
The higher order bit for all of the words of the that is what it is written. It is written that's what it is written that's what the higher order bit is always set. Okay, that is what I also found out. But I think maybe you can also find out, and then I think we can do ourselves good from there. Okay, that was what was what actually what written, that it is what it is always set. It is what always what set. Okay, so you can maybe after the class you can find out the higher order bit. Okay, maybe for precision though, but maybe you can find out. Okay, so please let's move on from there.
Yeah.
Any other question? Yes,
please. You see in the class A, it said for the network part there was a reserve. The 128 was reserved. So in the class B2, is there something reserved at the end like that?
For the class, no. Okay. So in the what class B, so the only one which that's what we take is from what's the name? The class A IP address. Okay. So out of the whole what IP addresses, and there's only class A IP address which has the what? The 127 what being what out. Okay, it is only the what class A. The rest are all the same. The rest we don't take what any of them out. Okay, the rest we don't take any of them what out. Okay, I hope it's clear. So always mind that's what it is only class A IP address that what the last part that is the what 127 is what is taking what out. Okay, and then the what so it is only the class A what IP address. It's a good question. A good question. All
Thank
right.
you, sir.
So the class B, we take the first one out.
The class B start from what 128. Okay, in the ranges is just like this. Ranges we don't take what anything out of the what the ranges. The ranges is only class A IP address that we take the 0
First
and then the what and the last, but the rest they remain the same. And then the last for the class D, okay, the 255 is what is being taken to become what 254. So let's say in general only what class A and then what class D. Now we do that what particular what subtraction. Okay, so class A, the first and the last is taken, and then the what the class D, the last one is what is even taken from it. Okay, so that is that for what for that. Very good question. So let's move on to the what to the class C. Okay, so class C. So we have what class C IP address ranging from what 192, okay, to what to 223. Okay, having what an IP address, okay, maybe 192, 168, maybe 100, and then 1. This can help us tell that what this is a what a class C what IP address. So if it is, let me say 200, maybe 24. Let me say maybe 32. And then 1. This should tell us it is what? It is a what? A class C what IP address, because it should what? It should start from what? 191 and what? End at what? 192. Okay. So meaning 1938 and end at what? 223. Sorry. 223. Okay. Which means that what? 224 is what? Different. Okay. And then 191 is of what? A different class. So that these are the what? The ranges. Okay. You see this? We don't take anything out. It's the same. That is how what it should be. Okay. So with the class C IP address, with what? Our 8-bit, our octet, first octet, second octet, third what? Octet, and then what? Fourth what? Octet. Okay. We should know that what? When we want to what? Know the what? The number of what? Network portion and what? And then host portion. In the class C IP address, let's know that what? It is what? It is C. So let's assume it is even 3. So the first octet becomes what? A network. Second what? Becomes what? A network. The third becomes what? A network. And then the what? The last becomes what? The host. Okay. So you see, it follows. If you even use the word the ABC, you can tell. Oh, C is 3. So network should be what? Should be 3. Oh, B is 2. Network should be what? Should be 2. A is 1. Network should be what? Should be 1. Okay. The rest becomes what? Host. Okay. So in the class C what? Network. That is what we have. What we have the network plus what? Plus network plus network becoming what? 24 bits for what? For network. Then the host becomes what? Only 1. That is what? That is 8. Okay. That is what? That is only what? Only 8 for what? For so let's take it from here and let's see the higher order bits in the what? In the class C what? Network. The higher order bit is used for what? Finding for the what? Network IDs. Okay, so if you are being asked to find for the what? For the network ID for what? A class A network. Always mind that what? You use that. Okay. The higher order bit is used to what? Find for the what? For the network what? IDs. So let me just write it down here. Oh, your network.
So are you now in the class B?
The class, yeah, class B. We are now with the class B. But you don't worry, the class is being recorded. Okay. So after I'll leave it for your class rep to give to you guys. Okay. So with the what? With the network what? With the class C, okay, we all know that what? Always this particular site is the what? Is the first octet, second octet, third octet, and then what? Fourth octet. And then we said that what? The 3 first what? Octets, or the 3 octets. 3 octets are what? Are for what? Network. Okay. And then the last one is for the what? Is for the what? For the host. So out of what? Out of the what? The network, we can take what? Our higher order bit. Okay, so it becomes what? 0, 1, and 1. Okay, so the rest become the what? Ones throughout. Okay, so meaning we take off the what? The first 3. So 24 minus what? 3 is giving us what? 21. So the remaining 21 are used to what? Find for the what? For the network ID, which become the formula with the power what? N minus what? Minus C. C is the what? Is the higher order bit. N is the what? Is the total what? Bit. Okay. So that is what? 2 with the power what? 24 minus what? 3, which gives us what? 2 with the power what? 21. Okay. And then the answer should tell us that what? This is the what? Is a network ID in a what? A class C what? Network. Okay. This is the what? Is a network ID with the what? With the class C what? IP address. Please, I hope we are following.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's take for the what? For the host part. Okay. The host is only what? 8. Okay. So with the host, when we are being told to find for the what? For the host ID, we take it from here. The host is what? Only what? 8 bits. Okay. The remaining bits is what? Is only 8 bits. So it becomes what? 2 to the power what? n minus what? Minus 2. Okay, so it becomes what? With the power what? 8 minus what? Minus 2, which I think becomes
So
what?
it's not supposed to be minus 3.
Minus what? Here. Oh no. I thought the formula is what? With the power what? N minus what? C for what? Network ID. Then host ID is what? The power what? N minus 2. Okay, minus 2. So I'm saying that.
Okay.
So when finding for the network ID, we use the higher order bit. That is the what? The 3. Okay, to find for the class C. And then the remaining tells us that this is what? The network what? ID. Okay, the remaining network ID. And then with the what? With the host ID, we can tell that the bit, that is the bit. The n is always the what? The bit. N, the what? The bit. Okay, the bit. So with the bit, we have what? Only 8 bits. So it becomes what? 3 to the power what? 8 minus what? 2. Okay, giving us what? I think 254 from there. Okay, 254. Okay, so let me explain from so far where we've gotten to with the what? With the host. You see, class C IP address is giving us what? 254 host, which means the usable host on the what? On that particular what? Network are only 254. So if you have what? A company which consists about, let me say, 200 people, you don't need to go for what? A class A IP address. Otherwise, you wear the IP address because 60 million, and then you are just only what? 200. You wear the IP address for the IP address. Okay. So if you have maybe, let's say about, let me say 16,000 people in your company, oh fine, you can go for what? Let me say 60,000 people in your company, you can go for what? A class B what? IP address, because we found out that what? The class B IP address has what? Usable host of what? 65,000. You see how it works? So let's say maybe the world contains like a class A what? IP address, because we are meaning. And then right now we are even in what? In shortage. So due to that, we moved on to what? To subnetting, but I'll get to that. Okay. So the class A what? IP address what? Is giving us what? Actually what? 16 million. Okay. So when you have what? Maybe a company which you think you have what? About what? 16 million people working in there, then it is fine to what? To go for what? A class A IP address. When you have a company which has what? About what? 60,000 what? Users, or 60,000 what? Members, or what? Or workers in there, I think class B IP address what? Will help you out. And then whether what? A few what? People in your what? In your particular what? Company, like maybe 200 or maybe 250. Yes. Class what? C IP address will help you not to what? To waste the what? The IP what? Addresses. So that's what? We don't what? Waste the what? The IP what? Addresses. Okay. So I hope it's clear. So we can continue with the class D. Are we on?
Yes,
are we on? Okay. So with the next page, okay. So with the class D IP address, class D IP address. Sorry.
Yes.
Okay.
I.
So with the class D IP address ranges from what? 224 to what? To 239, which means when I have what? An IP address of, let me say, 225, let's say 100, let's say maybe 101, and let's say maybe 1. It should what? Tell us that this is a what? A class D what? IP what? Address. So if we have what? About what? 230, okay, and here dot maybe something dot something dot what or something, tell us that this is what? A class D what? IP what? Address. Okay. So you see, in what? Our normal what? Routine, or what? For our normal users, we don't use this what? 2 IP address. That is the what? The class D and the what? And the class E. Okay. They are also used for what? Special what? Purposes. Okay. like let me say this, what's the name? Radio, television, people, okay? With the class E what IP addresses, they are used for what? For experimental and what? Research what? Purposes, okay? With the class C IP address, experimental and then what? Research what? Purposes. But with the class D, reserved for what? Multi what? Casting, okay? They are reserved for what? For multi-casting what? Purposes. So it is not what? Normally used by what? By individuals like us, okay? Let's say maybe with the what? Radio, with the radio, with the TV, okay? So they are those that can what? Go in for what? Such what? IP what? Addresses. But with like I and you using what? Mobile phone and then this and that, we use only from what? A, B, and then C, okay? So let's take what? With the class D what? IP address. Class D IP address. So we know that we have what? 8 bits in the first octet, 8 in the second, 8 in the third, and what? 8 here. So this is what? 8 bits, 8 bits, 8 bits, and what? And then 8 bits. Okay. So in the what? In the class D, in the class C, we had what? We had 3 networks, and then we have what? We had what? One what? Particular host. Okay, 3 networks, and then 1 particular host. Okay, from the setting, class D and E. Okay, class D and E. Okay, they don't have what? Any what? Subnet max. Okay, so they don't have this what? Network portion and then what? And then host. Okay, they are as what? They are. Okay, they don't have what? Any subnet max at all. So they don't have what? Any what? Network, let me see, with this network thing and then the what? The hosting that what? We are doing. But let me just make what? A correction right from here. Okay, but let's see from here. Okay. So with the what? With the class D, what I'm seeing is this. Okay, from the first 8, second 8, and the what? And the last 8. The higher order bit of the what? Of the first what? 8 is set to what? 0, 1, 1, and then what? And then 1. Okay, for the first what? Bit, okay, is set to what? 0, 1, 1, and 1. Okay, which is, this is what? 4. Okay, and then the remaining here is what? Is 28. Okay, because they should be what? 32 bits. So 8 plus the what? Plus this is giving us what? 20 what? 8 what? 32 what? Bit. This 4 plus this what? 8 should give us what? 24 what? 32 what? Bit. Okay, so we can what? We can use this to tell what? A number of what? Of the host. Okay, but with the network, with the network part, it is all what? They are all inclusive. Okay, so it doesn't look like the what? The class A, class B, class C, as we take the what? The network and the host. These ones are just what? They are all inclusive. So we just take the what? The higher order bit on the what? From the 32 bits. We take the what? The higher order bit from the 32 bits, which is what? The first 4, meaning it leaves with the what? With the last what? 28 bits. Okay, which is what? When we check for the what? For the host part, we can tell that it is what? With the power what? N minus what? Minus 2. Okay, which is what? Power what? 28 minus what? Minus 2. And then the value gives us what? Our class D. Okay, we don't want to concentrate much in here. And then with the class E, let's move on to the class E. Okay, it ranges from what? 240. Okay, let's speed up a little bit. 240 to what? 254. 254. Okay, 240 to what? To 254. And then with this one too, also what? The same. Okay, 8 bits at the first part, 8 bits at the second part, 8 bits at the third part, and then what? 8 bits at the what? At the last part. It doesn't also what? Look like or how it uses like the what? Normal what? A, B, and C what? IP what? Addresses. So we take the what? The first the higher order bit from the what? From the network. That is what? 1, 2, 3, 4, and then what? And then 5. As you can see, here was what? Was for Here is what? Is 5 for this. Okay, so it is following like the what? Like the numbers. A was 1, B was 2, C was 3, and then D was what? Was 4, and then E is what? Is 5. So out of this what? Out of this 32 bits, we can tell that the remaining, okay, the remaining from this is what? Is 20 what? 7. Okay, which we can tell that what? The host ID, okay, for the what? Class E network is what? 2 to the power what? N minus what? Minus 2, which is what? 2 to the power 27 minus what? Minus 2 from here. Okay, and then we get the what? The host for what? This particular what? Network. Okay, so that is all for the what? For the classful what? Addresses. So they are what? They are classful what? IP what? Addresses. Okay, so moving on what? Faster. Let's move into what? At least I believe we followed till this part, so we can move on.
Yeah, sir. It's when you said there is no division between the host ID or
yes. So
for the
yes,
class D and E.
Yes, they are all together. We just take the. We said the what? The higher higher order bits. Okay, we just take the what? The higher order bits from them. Okay, and then we take the host. Okay, it doesn't look like the what? Like the class A, class B, class C what? IP what? Because they are used for what? Reserved and what? Experimental purposes or for what? For multicasting. So that is not what of, let me say, of much concern to what? To us. Okay, the only one that what is of much concern to us is the what? Is the class A, class B, class C. Okay, that is what we actually work what our calculations on. Okay, most of the calculations and everything is what? On class A, class B, class C. But the class D, class E, okay, are for the what? Experimental and what? Research or what? Multicasting purposes. Okay, and then so they don't look as if they are like A, B, and C and D, like A, B, and C. Okay, because as we saw from here, their higher order bit was just what? Taken from. They never told us that they even have what? Network anything. But we know that what? Class D has what? 224 to 239. So when we see, we can tell. Okay, but the divisions didn't what? Show up right there. A division didn't what? Show up what? Right there. What we saw was only what? From the what? From the host. From the host. From the host. Please, I hope we are on.
Yes, so please the bits for the class E, the higher order bits, is it supposed to end with 0?
No. It is 1. Yes, it is 1. Okay. It is 1. Okay. So that is what? That is that for what? For that. Okay. So with the higher order bit, that's what we are having from what? Class A. This is what? Class B. This is what? Class C. That is 1, 1, 0. And then class D, 1, 1, 1. And then what? And then 0. And then this is class D. And this is what? Class E. All right. 2, 3, 4, 5. You can tell this is what? 2 to the power what? I think 2 to the power 2 to the power 8, they're giving us 50 what? 6. Okay, but because of what? This one, we have what? 2 to the power 7. Okay, which is what? Giving us what? 2 to the 1 what? 20 what? 128. Okay, so we take these 2 out. We take what? These 2 also. These 3 out. These 4 out, and then what? These what? 5 out. Which help us to what? Calculate for the what? For the network what? ID. Or the host ID. The formula what? Run there. For the last, and the formula is right there. 2 to the power n minus what? Minus c. Okay, for the what? Network ID. And then the host ID to the power what? N. Okay, or h. Let me say h. Okay, that is host. Okay, minus what? Minus 2. Okay, that is the formula for what? Finding for the what? Network ID, and then the what? The host what? ID. Always mind that what? Class A, first order bit out. Class B, 2 order bit, first 2 order out. Class C, the first 3 is out. Class D, first 4. Class E, the first 5. Okay, so we can continue from this side, right? I believe we can move on.
So this was the end.
So what's the end? The end is the what? Is the network. That is what? The network bits. The network bits. Okay, and then this one is the what? Higher order bit. The C, the higher order bit. Yes. Clementina. The class D, they are used for what? Experimental and what? Research what? Purposes, okay? And then the class E, used for what? For multicasting purposes, okay? Used for multicasting what? Purposes, all right? And then the 127 IP addresses used for what? As a look back what? IP address, okay? Look back IP address. The N there is what? Is network. So network bits, okay? The number of network bits, okay? And then the C is the what? Is the higher order bits. That's what we are subtracting. And then the H here is what? The number of what? Host bits. Okay, that is the total number of what? Host bits. Total number of what? Network bits. Okay, and then what? We move on. I believe we can proceed. Please, can we continue?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let's move on. Okay. So as I was telling you guys, okay, what the class A, class B, class C, and then what? Class D IP addresses. You realize that's what? The host right here was what? Was around 16,971,000. I think some values were, some 2 values or 3 values were what? Were behind the host. Okay, the one that's what? The host. With the class B, we had, I think, 65,600 and 500 and what? 60 something. Okay, let me just put it down like this. Okay, I don't remember the value, but an assumption. With this, we had only what? 254. Okay, and then with this, we didn't even calculate. Okay, so as I'm saying, so when at first, let's say we are coming to do what we call the what? Class 4 interdomain what? Or the classless interdomain what? Routing. Even though you may be able to see that this IP address is what? A class IP address, but it is not. Okay, it is just a classless. It can be of what? Any class. But you can see that, okay, it is 192 class C, but no, there is something that we use to determine that. Okay, so let's pay attention right from here. After this, we move on to what? Subnetting. So let's pay attention. When we get this, we get the subnetting. Okay, so let's move on from here. So with this, as I'm saying, so when you are going for the what? Class A what? And then mind you that what? IP address are what? Are assigned by the what? Organization called what? IANA. Okay, IANA. Okay, internet what? Assigned numbers what? Authority. Okay, internet what? Assigned number what? Authority. That is called what? IANA. They assign what? IP what? Addresses to what? To companies or organizations or to individuals for them to what? To use. Okay, so let's say at first when you go that, okay, I need what? A class A what? IP address. They'll just pick up what? This whole class A IP address, and then what? They'll give it to you that what? You alone go and use. At first, when you go for a class B IP address, they'll give to you this. You alone go and use this. Okay. So it was what? It was wasting the what? The IP addresses. It was like one person alone has what? A whole what? Class C what? IP address of what? 254, but he's only one. So what about the what? The 253 remaining? Okay. So it was what? It was a wastage, okay, of what? Of we what? Wasting the IP addresses on with the what? With the class 4 what? Addressing. Okay, so they realized that no, they should what? Actually what? Find a way to what? To minimize and what? And then cut down what? The whole thing to what? To make sure that what? Even if you are what? You are on a what? A class C IP address, and then what? You are one person. You get what? One IP address. Okay, or let's say you get like maybe 3. Okay, let me say if you are one person, if you are maybe let's say if you people are what? Are 5 people, then you go for what? IP address for what? A network. Let's say you want a class C IP address. We can say 192 from here. Okay, dot what? 168 from here, and then dot what? Let me say 2 from here, and then the what? The host part. Okay. With this part, okay. Let's say when we assign, let me say you are just what? Let me say so from 1 to what? Or let me say from 2 to what? 2 to 7. Okay, you people are using the IP. So the first person is what? Having the what? Address of 1. Second has address of 2. Third has address of 3. Fourth address of 5. So what about the what? The 8, 9 till that part? It is going to be what? To be wastage. That why are you people? You're only 5, and then you have what? IP address which should contain what? 254 people. So we were what? We were wasting our what? IP addresses. So they sat down to what? To bring the idea that we should what? Should reconsider and what? Look into what we call what? Subnetting or classless what? Interdomain what? Routing, which means even though you come for the what? For the IP address, but we can what? We can limit the what? The number of what? IP address we can what? We can give to you. So if these 5 people what? Go for what? The IP address, this is what happens. Okay, 192 here becomes what? Blocked. Okay, they seize this site. Okay, I'll explain what the 255 means. Okay, I'll explain that. And what they'll block this site. Then so you people are, let's say you people are about what? About 5. Okay, so let's say maybe they'll give people like maybe say 8. Okay, so out of the 8, maybe 1 for what? For network address, and then the last for the what? For the host address, meaning that is the only people on this. Okay, but if at first somebody goes for what? A class A IP address, like here is what? 10. Okay, here is 1. Okay, if here becomes 1, then meaning we have about what? 15 million what? Wastage what? In IP address. If this becomes what? 255, meaning we've seized that part to be used. Meaning that it is being seized. It is being seized. Okay, meaning nobody can what? That is the host part. So meaning it becomes part of the what? Of the network. Okay, becomes part of the what? Of the network. That is why it is called what? A class for what? Interdomain what? Routing. Okay. Let's look at them one by one. Okay, let's look at them one by one. So I'll take something, and then I'll take one IP address. I'll use it to what? To explain the what? The whole concept we are doing from here. Okay, so let me clean this. Okay, and let me take just an IP address so we understand from there. Okay, so in here we are controlling the what? The sharing of the what? Of IP addresses. Okay, or dividing them into what? Into smaller what? Networks. Okay, so that we don't what? Waste the what? The IP addresses.
For more information and also to reach us, please contact the numbers on the screen. You can also reach us through our social media handles displayed on the screen. Please do like, follow, and subscribe to our social media handles. A Softek IT Consult. Innovative solutions with the difference.